This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. It is June 23rd, 2021. As always, I am joined by my co-host, that way, Luke Sylvia, if you're watching on YouTube in the stream. Luke, what it do?
Well, we know, it happened. We just wasted, I don't know if we wasted, but there was, 2 months of our lives where you and I were saying, man, June 22nd, man, can't come fast enough. Now I just wish I had a warning label on June 22nd. I wish I would have woken up this morning. It would have been on my calendar. Don't get your hopes up. And I should have seen it coming, right? Like, I should have seen it coming. We had a 14% chance, Jonathan. And I had already started talking myself into how dumb it is that luck can change our whole franchise for the whole trajectory. You get a player like Cade Cunningham, and it's all luck. You got a 14% chance. That's it. Yes, you're tied with everybody else. The top other 2 teams are the worst records in the league. But everybody behind you is playing the same lottery. They got worse chances, but there's so many teams, it doesn't matter. Anybody can get it. It's the lottery on steroids, and the Magic lost the lottery.
All right. Before we get to the bad stuff, I wanted to cover the good stuff from tonight.
Yeah, please.
The vibes tonight, all day, honestly, were immaculate. Like Orlando Magic Twitter, Facebook, like Instagram, just all over social media, Reddit, all those pages. The positivity was at an all-time high today. Everybody had such good feelings heading in tonight. So I just wanted to, first of all, thank you to everybody that came out to the watch party, in Orlando at Harry Buffalo, or if you joined us during the live stream. It was just way too many people to mention, but Dante Marchitelli came out. Dan Savage from OrlandoMagic.com that we had on the podcast a couple weeks ago, he came out. Tony Quinn, who works for the social media team and does a lot of the graphic design for the Orlando Magic, he came out. That was incredible. Adam Papagiorgio came out. Jesus Colon, who's watching the stream, he came out. Jonathan Z came out. There's just so many people that I've talked to over and over and over on Twitter, and we've interacted with on Twitter the last couple of years. And everybody, came out and, supported, and it was just dope to have everybody there. I wasn't really sure when we started to put this together what the turnout was going to be, but bro, when I tell you, like from the first pick, Warriors getting the 14th pick, place was going crazy. 14th pick meant absolutely nothing to us. There was no way the Bulls were going to finish that low. There's no way the Magic were going to finish that low, but from the jump, the place was just on fire.
Yeah, so Jonathan, obviously you and I haven't spoken. You and I, obviously me, you, and Kevin Tucker, who has recently came on as a content contributor.
I can't believe I didn't mention Kevin. Like Kevin.
So yeah, Kevin came down from another state and brought his whole family so that he could attend this. And he has been with the Sixth Man Show for all of 3 weeks, maybe. I don't even know. Yeah, Kevin will probably correct me, but so that's incredible. But you and I haven't. We worked on this. You were in contact with the Harry Buffalo. Shout out Lucas Weiland. He was one of the guys on Twitter who helped set that up for us. So we haven't gotten to talk about this part because we had over 100 RSVP yes that they were coming, right? So I wanted to ask you because I genuinely have no idea. I saw some videos. Dante posted one, you posted one, some other people shared it on Instagram. And I was trying to just pause the video, count, pause the video, count. I was like, there had to have been at least 50 people there. Do you think that there was more than 50, or where do you think that we landed at?
Thick. There was 50 just on the upstairs with us,
and I saw there's people downstairs.
Yeah, there was probably close. I want to say like 80, 90. Like it was pretty thick. You know what I mean? And everybody was so cool. Like I was just texting with Jesus, who I mentioned. The vibes were immaculate. Everybody was so cool. Everybody was coming up and showing love and thanks for putting this together and thanks for doing the podcast and just introducing themselves. And again, it was so dope to like meet all of these people that you talk to on a regular basis,
Right.
and put like names to Twitter accounts, like, hey man, nice to meet you. Like, what's your name? Okay, what's your name on Twitter? And it's like, oh, okay, now I know who you are.
Yeah. No, that's
But
the craziest part of it all, Jonathan, is like you and I have talked about this so many times, just how cool it would be. This is the closest we've gotten to it, but how cool it would be to record an episode live. Me being in Florida, us like renting out a space, doing an episode live with people there watching, whatever. And we see the numbers, we see how many listeners we have every week, and it's a good amount of you, right? And so for us to think about all those people in one room, and tonight was really the first chance for you to get that and to you experience that. So I'm glad you got to experience that, because you put so much into the show for the last few years now, and to finally get to meet people that listen that you haven't gotten to meet yet. The Magic Twitter community is truly one of a kind, and I mean that in every way possible. And so for you to get to meet a lot of those guys and girls that have listened to the show for so long, I think that's really awesome. And I'm saying all this because this is the positive stuff. Okay, this is the stuff that Jonathan and I haven't gotten to talk about yet.
Stuff.
We're gonna get to every hypothetical possible here in probably the next 45 minutes to an hour or so. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to highlight that, how cool it was that you got to see a lot of those guys and girls, and Kevin the same, and kind of getting to see the impact that he's already made, because Kevin has already helped the show's growth immensely. So it's pretty awesome that got to happen.
Well, we were definitely missing, one big member of the show. Next time, Luke will definitely have to be there. But when I tell you, when the Kings were announced to have the 9th pick, the whole restaurant just started Bulls. Bulls. Just started the Bulls chant, because we knew if the Bulls didn't come up at 8, that meant they had jumped into the top 4. And when the Bulls pick conveyed, everybody just went crazy. And then the next few picks goes Warriors, then OKC, and I was just like in the moment freaking out that we hadn't been named yet. But the other people around me, like Kevin, was like, "This is not good. This means Toronto and the Cavs have jumped into the top 4." And then we're like, "Oh snap!" And then immediately. Right after that, the Magic,
I'll give you a glimpse into my viewing party that I had with me and my friend Zane. So shout out Zane. Zane was over at the apartment with me, and we were just kind of hanging out, and his fiance and my wife Lauren had gone out to pick up some groceries, actually. So we were just sitting in the living room. I had him have Tankathon up on his phone, and after every pick was revealed, I pointed to him, and he was like, "Yep, that's where they were supposed to be. Yep, that's where they were supposed to be." And so I had him just reading me off everything as it was happening, and I'm standing up, no lie, probably 5 inches away from my TV screen, and I am just waiting. But then I can't lie to you, Jonathan, it got to the point where those two teams that were not in the top 4 jumped into the top 4. They obviously show that on the TV. I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh no. Probably had realization the same time you and Kevin did, and everybody else in the restaurant, because right when it happened, I told Zane, I said, I know in my heart that the Magic are about to be picked, have the 5th pick. And, he pulls it out, Magic logo. I'm like, okay, well, all right, we're done here.
The worst part is that out of the top 3, we're the only team that got hosed.
Yeah.
Like
those teams
Houston
stayed in the
and
top
Detroit,
3.
they still, end up with, Detroit number 1, Houston number 2. But that's the thing. Like, we're right there in the top 3. 2 out of the 3 stay, and we fell. So it comes back to, really, if you look at that, late in the season, it was a Tuesday game. It's like 2 games that we played Detroit, and we split that series with them. If you lose both of those games, we have the 1st pick right now.
Yeah.
Like, it really sucks to think about it like that. But, same thing. Like, if, we beat the, if we couple more wins, we end up 3 instead of 5. Like, it's totally random. And that's the thing. Like, people are obviously upset, and they're definitely going to be upset when they think back on the fact that if we would have lost both of those games late in the season to Detroit, that we would have had the 1st pick, number 1 overall pick right now. But it's just completely random. That's the crazy, crappy thing.
And I know how we feel about it, Jonathan. How do you think Cade feels going to Detroit when
that dude is about to get paid? They got a good, young team.
So
his dreams are about to come true. I think he's all right.
Well, yeah, sure, but honestly, you and I have talked about it on an episode when we talked about Kate specifically. Houston was one of the destinations where I was like, that's one of the places I could see him wanting to go. That's he played not too far from there, and it's warm weather. He's used to Orlando, warm weather. A place that he wasn't used to is Detroit. So honestly, in that moment, those final two, I was like, I would love for Cade to be able to go to Houston, play along KPJ, like that would be fun, to get to see that, and for him to not have to go to the Arctic, because as someone who moved from the tropical weather to what I consider the Arctic,
And let's talk about tropical weather today.
oh,
Dude,
I heard
I
that,
didn't know
yeah,
people were
that
going to
storm
show
was
up to the
crazy.
draft party. It's
Yeah.
literally hurricaning on the turnpike as I'm driving over to Orlando.
Yeah, and that's pretty crazy. That the fact that people, the amount of people that still showed up and weren't scared away from that rain, because a lot of people will very, very specifically not go somewhere because it's raining outside.
Facts.
Especially how it was, because you guys sent me pictures and I was like, dude, that's not a sun shower.
Support for the Six Man Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming, champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SIXTH at manscaped.com. Again, that's code SIXTH, SIXTH at manscaped.com.
And Jonathan, the Lawnmower 4.0 is incredible, but they also have these two, a gel and an exfoliator. The exfoliator, the crop exfoliator, you can use it at any time. Whether it's, my wife actually used it on her legs. She said she loved this stuff. So we've been splitting time on the crop exfoliator, and then the crop gel can be used. So, right before the shaving process with the razor, and make things, smoother and make it a much more enjoyable process. But these really, shout out Manscaped, because these really have improved my time shaving.
I can tell you, I absolutely will not share my crop exfoliator with my wife. You're going to be buying a lot of ultra smooth packages, my friend. But the crop exfoliator, honestly, the best exfoliator that I've ever used. So much so that for my wife's skin care regimen that she forces on me, I've started to use the crop exfoliator even on my face. It leaves your boy glowing. It's the hot boy summer, the long boy summer, but it's just incredible. So guys, get 20% off and free shipping with the code SIXTH at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use code SIXTH, SIXTH. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Let's go through this really quickly, just like the draft order, and we can start talking about some mock draft stuff. I'm looking at the ringer.com right now, looking at Kevin O'Connor stuff. Number 1, Detroit. Number 2, Houston. Number 3, Cleveland. Number 4, Toronto. Number 5, the Magic. Number 6, OKC. Number 7, Golden State. And then number 8, the Magic again. So we've talked for months and months and months now about how the fact that this is a 5-player draft. Cade Cunningham is going number 1. The last few weeks, number 2 and number 3 has really become Evan Mobley and Jalen Green. And then number 4 and 5 is Jalen Suggs and Jonathan Kuminga. So as soon as the 5th pick was announced, everyone's like, okay, it's Kuminga. That's going to be our guy. If you're not familiar with Jonathan Kuminga, I think 18 years old, played for the G League Ignite this season, averaged 15.8 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 2.7 assists, only shot 24.6% from the 3-point line, which is his stroke doesn't look terrible, but he's definitely got a lot of work to do. The thing with Kuminga is that a lot of people feel like he is a potential defensive player of the year type talent. We've already got one Jonathan and Jonathan Isaac that you could say that about. So now you'd be pairing Jonathan Kuminga with Jonathan Isaac, probably play Kuminga at the 3, Isaac at the 4, and then you just lock down everybody would be the idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the case. And, at this point, it feels like Kuminga, that's just the writing on the wall. All of a sudden, my attention shifts to pick number 8. That's what I'm thinking about. And that's all I've been thinking about since
O'Connor has us taking Franz Wagner out of Michigan. So sorry to put your Moses Moody dreams to bed right there. He's got Moses Moody going 15 to the Wizards. So I'm still in on Moses Moody because I think we need shooting so badly.
Yep.
That, you just go and get the guy that you think, you need in that case. But everybody's going to have different big boards and mock drafts when it, after you get out of that top 5, and we'll just kind of have to see how a lot of that plays out. But Luke, what I really want to talk about is I feel like the cloud of how awesome the crowd was tonight at the draft party is making me feel differently about tonight than I would if I were sitting at home on my couch. Like right now, you kind of put it in the group chat a few minutes after, the picks were announced that I'm already talking myself into being okay with 5 and 8. But what I want to say is that's not what the entire fan base has been talking about for the past 2 months. It's been Cade, it's been Jalen, it's been Evan Mobley, and that's it. Like that's how we actually went into tonight was top 3 pick or tonight's a disaster.
Yeah.
We didn't end up in the top 3. Yes, we kept the Bulls pick, but we were talking about getting like the franchise altering guy tonight, and that did not happen. Now we're talking about the Cavs already really, really guard heavy. Kevin O'Connor's mock draft has the Houston Rockets taking Evan Mobley at number 2 overall, which would then give the Cavs some kind of decision between Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, or Jonathan Kuminga. Maybe they're not all that excited to take another guard. Sam Amico is already reporting that the Cavs are pretty aggressive about moving that pick. Toronto is potentially a fringe playoff team. They missed the playoffs this year, just barely. But 2 years ago with Kawhi Leonard, they won a NBA Finals. Maybe they're looking to move that pick as well. A lot of the talk has been, are we going to be able to package, 5 and 8 or 5 and some other assets, future draft picks to try to move up? And my initial reaction was no, like there's no way. This is the draft that people have been looking forward to for years. Cleveland still needs a lot of help. Toronto probably needs some help. They're probably not looking to trade down. But the more that I look at the draft and the way that it might shake out, and probably a lot of this is me talking myself into this, so I have some hope leading up to the draft. But I think there is a chance the Magic could move up to 3 if Cade and Evan Mobley are both gone.
What are you giving up for that?
I would give up 5 and 8. I would give up 5 and the 2023 pick. I would give up the 2023 Bulls pick, I would give up 5, the 2023 Bulls pick, and the Denver 2025 pick. If you're getting Jalen Green at 3, I would give up 5 and Gary Harris or 5 and Terrence Ross, something like that. If I'm getting Jalen Green, another shooting guard, absolutely doing that. If the Magic feel like that's their guy, then you have to do anything you can to make sure that you get him if the opportunity presents itself. And again, looking at Cleveland, you look at Darius Garland, you look at Colin Sexton, even if Evan Mobley is there at 3, they just traded for Jared Allen, and they have every intention of re-signing him from all the reports that I've seen and everything that I've heard. So Jonathan would give up the podcast for the 3rd pick. Tony, you might be right. I might just throw all this away and just risk it all. And again, Tony, thank you for coming out tonight, man. It was awesome. Awesome to see you.
Do you think any of what you just said would move someone from moving off 3? Like, I know they're shopping it, but like, they're going to be getting some big offers, some desperate teams that are willing to trade some questionable players and amount of picks to get 3, I think. I mean, Jalen Green, you got to think how desperate we were to get a top 3 pick tonight. Like, what would we require to get Jalen Green off our plate? Like, I know we're not the ones that be shopping or anything, but like, I don't know. I just think that I think that if that trade happens, it is going to be a lot more than we just talked about and a lot more than we're probably comfortable with. But it's Jalen Green, right? or
I
Evan
mean,
Mobley.
you haven't really presented all the options to me, to be fair. I'm just really going off the dome here with what I would give up, just like off the top of the head. I would
Right.
definitely
No.
give up 5 and 8. Like, I would give up 5 and 8 instantly to get Jalen
Yeah.
Green. I think
Oh,
he's has
yeah.
that level of talent. But if
Yeah.
we're talking about like 5 and 8 and like, 2 future firsts, we've got already 7 young guys on the team. How many more first round picks are we going to need? Like,
Right.
looking at you, Oklahoma City, what are you going to do with all those picks? Like, eventually you're going to have to move off of some of those young guys and kind of,
Yeah.
You look at Boston. Boston sat on all these picks and all these assets they had for years and years and years. And like the gallon of milk spoiled a little bit. Now they still have Jason Tatum and Jalen Green, but Jaylen Brown, excuse me. I'm thinking of Jalen Green.
You're daydreaming already.
Daydreaming, but I don't know, man. If it turns out just to be Kuminga, everybody that you hear talk about him still pretty high on him. Everyone's saying this is a 5-player draft. You got the 5th pick. You can't be too upset about that. But
so I think you brought up this point. You said, how many future firsts, how many young guys do you need? You've already got several projects on your plate that we sit on here every week and talk about if with all these players. Which brings me to what I'm thinking the same way as you, Jonathan. You package 5, 8, and whatever you got to get your guy at 3. Like, I don't know if whatever you got to would entail guys like J.I. or Markel.
Don't say it.
But
like on the way home, I'm thinking like, would they trade RJ Hampton? But then like RJ's getting traded twice before his second season. Like Cole Anthony, arguably should have made an all rookie team. Chuma Okeke, like it's so stupid. We get so attached to these guys, but it's at the end of the day, you just want the team to be as good as possible. But
yeah,
Jeff Weltman tonight in his, post-draft lottery press conference said over and over, they're going to explore every option. He also mentioned talking about how, having a lot of these assets allows you to go after like a disgruntled star. So I still feel like that's a big part of the puzzle here. He said they're not really ready to cash in on all of their chips just yet to make a move like that. But I definitely think all of the future assets, opening up the cap space, opening long-term flexibility, he's definitely waiting to cash in on that at some point.
Yeah, and it's a matter of when. And draft night, I mean, you talk about stress. The Magic get the 1, 2, or 3 pick. Draft night, I'm not even sweating. I'm not. Top 3 pick, I don't care. Luke, you get Cade, Jalen Green, or Mobley. The only thing in the back of my head is, please, Lord, don't take Jalen Suggs. And that's it. And I don't even think that's going to happen. But now, when you have the 5th and the 8th pick, there is so much to sweat. All I'm going to be thinking at 5 is if they mess it up and they don't take Kuminga and they take Scotty Barnes, and then they go to 8 and then they don't take Moses Moody. Draft night just got a lot more stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be more stressful now than this was for me, I think.
Adam Silver is walking to the podium. Yeah, there's been a trade.
Bro.
The Cleveland Cavaliers trade the 3rd pick to the Orlando Magic.
Bro, and then I'm going to be thinking, is this the right move? Is this what we should do? Is this right? I have no idea.
If it gets me Jalen Green, you won't be able to tell me anything that night, honestly, unless it involves J.I. or Markel. Like, those are the 2 guys. As much as I don't want to move Cole and Chuma and RJ, J.I. and Markel are still my 2 favorite players on the team, and those would be the 2 guys it would hurt me the most to move. Like somebody just brought up in the chat, the Oladipo Ibaka deal. Like, Oladipo was the guy on the team at that point that would have been the last guy that I would have traded. So when I found out that we got Ibaka, I was super hyped. And then as soon as I found out it was for Oladipo, I was like, oh man, what the heck did we just do? So there's definitely a lot of that. Like, is this the right move? Like, in the moment type of things. You get me Jalen and it doesn't cost me Jonathan or Markel, I'm going to tip my cap to you and be like, all right, Jeff, you got it done. And people are talking about Jeff's reaction on the draft lottery.
Oh,
that dude was not happy whatsoever.
Down bad for sure. Like, he was not feeling great. He was every emotion we were. Like, but he couldn't, man, that was sad.
when I tell you that I woke up this morning and I was positive we were getting the first pick, dude, I haven't been more sure of anything in quite some time. I was telling Carmen the entire way driving to the party, like, I can't believe we're about to get the number 1 pick. Like, I really, in my heart of hearts, believed we were going to get the number 1 pick. Like,
yeah, and then
you just
Pistons fans and
5
Rockets fans, they had the same conversations with their wives, you know.
5 though, like 5, like 3, like would have been great. Like 4 would have been like but 5, like
I could have really convinced myself on 4 within probably 5 minutes. It's gonna, like, I'm convincing myself that, like, you know, they've got the assets, they've got the young guys, they have some trade ammunition. If they really, and I trust the, you know, I'll trust the scouts that they've got. If they really believe that their guy is going to be there at 3 and they believe that's the right move, that great. But for all we know, front office could be salivating over Jalen Suggs. And, you know, you trade up for 3 and we're like, yes. They take Jalen Green at 2. And then we say, no problem. Evan Mobley, come to Orlando, baby. And then they say, with the 3rd pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Jalen Suggs. It all can happen. Every possible situation
disaster
you tell me about, I could believe it at this point. Like, I could definitely talk myself into anything happen, because I don't know what the front office is thinking. I mean, we have no clue what is going to happen in late July on draft night.
Well, I think the scary thing now, you know, again, we're talking about Cleveland reportedly being aggressive and moving the 3rd pick. None of these trades are going to happen until, like, the pick needs to be in, basically.
Yeah.
Cleveland, if anybody trades or moves up or moves down, whatever, all these trades are going to come at the last minute. You're going to get, you know, teams' best and final offers, and then you'll have, you know, kind of like your pick of the litter there. But yeah, that would be absolute disaster. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I would just, you know, it would really, really, really just be rough. But I wanted to ask you this, because for the last few months, there's been such a divide in the fan base between just hoping and cheering for losses versus the people that were like, okay, yeah, I understand the big picture. It's good to get a higher draft position, but at the same time, we want these guys developing and playing well, and we're okay if they get wins. And the last few days, it's just been like you're either on one side or the other. And, oh, well, I've seen a lot of this. Oh, well, if you guys, you know, didn't want to tank, you don't get to celebrate this draft pick. Well, then I just want to turn around and be like, well, look, had we won a few more games, we would have the Cavs pick. And yeah, if we would have lost a few other games, we would have had the 1st pick or the 2nd pick or whatever. This is what it comes down to. All this crap is totally freaking random. It sucks. Like, the draft lottery sucks. And I can say that because this is like the 4th, 5th time now in the last 10 years. We just get screwed over and over and over again. The year that we don't get screwed, the number 1 pick is freaking Anthony Bennett. Like, it wouldn't have mattered if we got the 1st pick. We would have got our guy anyways at 2. So,
yeah. And what I'll say is, you know, people have said, well, see, if we would have just lost a couple more games, we'd be sitting pretty with that pick. And it's like, yeah. And on the flip side, which I would take in a heartbeat, if the Magic are like Cleveland and win another game, we're getting pick number 3. So I can play this game all day. And guess what? We're talking about going all out to get the 3rd pick in the draft. We're talking about going all out to get the 3rd pick in the draft. I would love that. So guess what? If the Magic would have won another game too, they would have been sitting pretty with the 3rd pick, and none of this even matters. And me and you were on here talking about how Jalen Green or Evan Mobley is coming to Orlando. So, I mean, we can play ifs all day. It's a lottery for a reason, and it's just not worth
off ticket.
Right. And it's, you know, no. And if I had to go back and kind of had the decision to rewire my brain of how I thought about the team, you know, prior to trading Vooch and all that, no, I'm not thinking about us, like, you know, I'm not thinking about tanking before that. There were so many people that were already like pro tank before Vucevic got traded. And it's just like, that wouldn't be worth it either. Because at the end of the day, it's all just luck. It's all it is. And if you're unlucky, you're unlucky. Tonight, the Magic were unlucky. If the Magic would have started tanking sooner, still could have been unlucky. You have no idea kind of how all this unfolds, and every scenario is so different.
Well, I think, really one of the things to think about now is you have 5, you have 8, you have all these young guys on the roster, and people have already brought up this point, not only tonight, but the last couple of weeks. Do the Magic want to end up next season with basically like 9 guys on the roster under 25? Like, you can only dress 13 guys on a given night. You want 9 of them to be under 25? Who knows? So the Magic really could have just been going into this draft with that Bulls pick in their back pocket. Like, if that conveys and we don't end up where we want to be, we're going to try to package that because we don't necessarily want 2 guys on the roster. So maybe they're like, okay, we're playing with house money now. We've got 5, we've got 8. What else do you want on our roster so that we can move up to 2 or to 3 or whatever to try to get their guy? That's definitely something to look out for, because if Houston can get a solid guy and 5 and they can get 8 and they're not over the moon about a guy that they could pick at number 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the case may be, there is the potential for the Magic to move up. I'm just super hesitant that is going to happen, but I'm not thrilled with the outcome of tonight. So at least for now, that is the hope that I'm holding on to. The last couple of weeks, the hope that I was holding on to was that we could end up with 1, 2, or 3. Now that hasn't happened, the only option that I have is the hope that we are able to trade up, because those are the guys that we've had circled, for months and months and months now. So, Luke, we've got 4 weeks and 2 days until, or maybe 5 weeks and 2 days. I don't know. A little bit over a month between now and the NBA draft. And still don't have the head coach. Jeff Weltman was asked a couple of times tonight about where they are in the coaching search. He mentioned they've interviewed quite a few candidates. They're going to continue to interview candidates. He didn't say where exactly they are in that process, like if they're in the first round of interviews or if they're now going through the second round with multiple candidates. Jeff Weltman is just keeping everything super close to the vest. And most people know this, but something that I'm noticing more and more now, every time he speaks, he's just leaving everything open-ended so that you could really think he has all these different intentions. He's just not going to show his cards. He's not going to let teams know that, he's not happy with the 5th pick or the 8th pick or whatever. Yeah, total shocker with Jeff Weltman. But, man, we could just go on and on and on and on and on about this. This is one of the things that you have to be careful with raw reactions.
Yeah.
It's just emotions are coming out right now.
And I'm going to ask you again about one of those emotions that you're experiencing right now. You may or may not. Do you brought up coaches a week ago? I would have probably interjected to start talking with you about coaches. After tonight, my raw reaction, and honestly, my reaction is I cared less now. The hype around getting that top 3 pick and everything, I was just riding so high. And so I was eager to talk about coaches. I'm like, yes, that, the coaches with, that can mold young players. And we have Becky Hammon, and we have all these people, and we have Kenny Atkinson. And now you bring up coaches, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, I mean, oh, right. We still have a coaching search to put on. And guess what? We don't have the 1st pick. We don't have the 2nd pick. And we don't have the 3rd pick. So which would have made that
4th pick.
We don't even have the 4th pick while we're at it. So, and those all could have been used to entice a coach who would be happy and eager to work with those guys. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, but I do think there is an aspect of this all that after getting the 5th pick and the 8th pick, I'm not as excited to talk coaching search.
I think the coaching search is even more important now, because when you draft a guy like Cade covers up a lot of mistakes.
Right.
A guy of that caliber. We talk about Jonathan Isaac, who we had on the podcast this week, shameless plug. Mm-hmm. But the holes that he clogs on the defensive end, like, guys can make mistakes because Jonathan Isaac is going to be there to cover things up. So when you don't have as much talent a lot of times you have less margin for error. And I think that's true with the coaching search now. Is it's arguably even more important than it was yesterday to make sure that you get your guy and that you hire the right guy. And now with 7 job openings, it seems like every other day there's another head coach getting fired in the NBA now. It's getting more competitive in regards of finding the right coach, getting your guy. The interest has to be mutual. It has to be a good fit for him or her. Looking at you, Becky Hammond, who is interviewing for a second time with Portland. She's a finalist for that job, so probably going to miss out on that if they offer her the job. That's a really good situation for her with Damian Lillard there. But I think that the coaching search is even more important now. I think that's going to be something that they take care of probably in the next 2 weeks or so. Philip Rossman-Reich on his podcast last week was talking about how that coaching hire, he expects that to be like the week of July 5th, like after the July 4th weekend. So we'll see if that ends up being true, but super important that you get the right head coach. We'll see what happens if they're able to move up in the draft. But apart from that, now it's time to just start looking at all the players that are going to be available around 5, around 8, and just decide who your guy is going to be. Kuminga, Moody, those are by far the most popular names that are coming up right now in, early talks, with Magic fans and everything like that. It just sucks because, again, the energy in that place, something like I haven't experienced since Game 3 in the 2019 playoffs at home against Toronto. The energy in that place was just incredible. Again, just thank you to everybody that came out. It was a great time. But it just all feels like it didn't mean anything because we ended up with the 5th pick, which kind of sucks. But
yeah, I mean, nothing else really to say about any of that because, yeah, it is what it is. You trust the front office. Like I've said, I'm going to continue to trust them until they give me a reason not to. Nothing they could have done different tonight, obviously. Nothing different we could have done tonight. So, glad you got to, at least the bright spot is you got to meet so many of those Magic fans and listeners of the show. So yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say, honestly.
Yeah, it was really dope. Again, thank you to Harry Buffalo for having us. It was, a great spot for the watch party. What was really crazy is just a few minutes before the draft lottery started, it was storming, like we talked about, and the DirecTV went out in the restaurant. So we're all panicking.
While they were revealing picks, right? Or no?
I don't think so. I don't think they were revealing picks yet. I'm pretty sure all of that was on the big screen, but everyone was pulling out their phones and finding illegal streams and everything like that to watch whatever was going on. But yeah, huge thank you to them. Huge thank you to everybody that came out and meeting all of you guys. It was really a great time. Again, big thank you to Dante, Dan Savage, Tony Huynh, Lucas Weiland for, setting the whole thing up. Kevin, our content contributor here with the 6-man show. Just everybody that came out, it meant a lot. It kind of was like affirming that, what we do on a weekly basis, isn't for anything. The for fans, by fans, like it's by fans, for fans. I can't even remember our own.
It's late,
now. I'm so tired. But I hope you guys understand that we really are about this. We do this for you guys. Show is completely pointless without you guys. So just really, really, really appreciative. It's been a crazy last couple of days for the podcast. Was hoping tonight would be a really big night for the podcast, and it was in a sense. It wasn't as big, again, as if we would have got the first pick. Just going to keep harping on that, but really appreciative. And I think the Magic, they've already announced they're doing a watch party for the draft. So we'll probably be at that. We probably won't do the Harry Buffalo thing again, at least not for the draft. Maybe we do something, during the season for an away game or something like that and see if people want to get together. But yeah, anyways, Luke, I don't have anything else, man. I'm running on fumes here. What about you?
No, I'm good, man. It's bedtime.
It's Betty Bye time. Can't believe I just said that. We got 50-something people watching this right now. Anyways, folks, thank you guys for listening. Luke, this has been Jonathan. You guys are listening to the 6-Man Show. We're picking 5th and 8th, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to the 6-Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. Please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It would really help us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 6 Man Show and like us on Facebook. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic.